if you'd like to respond to that, you can hit Alt and H and bring up the chat window. Answer any questions. It is Thursday, March 12th. It's the 5:30 early show. Today we're going to be going over MRP Live, Westhold, and MyLaps integration, MRP Live Troubleshooting, MRP Live Uploads, and common questions. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you have any questions, I have muted everybody, but you can hit Alt and H and bring up the chat window. That will, I'll answer any questions that I receive throughout the day, throughout this meeting. Through that chat window, you have the option here to send that directly just to me, so only I can see it, so you can send it anonymously. If I don't answer your question immediately, that's okay. I will, I'll come back to it. I've set aside a time to go over questions, different things like that. Oh yeah, yep. So I can get over rainouts and cancellations. I will make note of that. Sounds good. Well, let's get started then. Today we'll start with as usual, and then we'll come back to that. We'll be good to go. Okay, so we have our race management. We have our race for today. We have the different classes that we're going to be running. If you have any questions about this screen or anything regarding this, we do have past webinars that go over this, or you can ask the questions in the chat window, and I'll go over that in the questions section. But the important thing is that we're going to start by using transponders. We have the allow and not allow rentals. The biggest difference is the checkbox that appears. So you have the little checkbox to mark if you're using rentals. If not, if you don't allow rentals, you can do that right here. Either way is fine, but we are going to make sure that we're using transponders in this spot here. I'm going to go through and use MRP Live right here. I'm going to connect it to Westhold first. Then I'm going to connect it to MyLaps. I'm going to show some of the different things that could happen, different kind of error messages screens that you could see there and what to do about those, as well as go over some of the different common issues that you may encounter using everything. So let's get started. I'm going to launch from web. First, that's going to open MRP Live. And we're going to view a few things. First and foremost, we're going to make sure that we're using Race Manager. If I have it set to the wrong system, it won't pick up on it when I send the file. So that's really important. The other thing I'm going to do here is, just for everyone else here so we can see what I'm doing, I'm going to remove some of the past week's files. Okay. So we have a few things here. So in network broadcast control, I'm going to take this IP address. I'm going to copy this one, and I put it into MyRacePass. So I want to put it in exactly as it is right here, so they match. So remember, it's going to be from the transponder system into here. And then in the R monitor box, we have this TCP IP code. It's generally 50,000. But make sure you put that into here. If we try to connect with that off, so I've not put in the right code, it'll pop up an error message for me. And it's basically going to tell me exactly what happened here. So it's going to say, we couldn't find anything at this specified location. So it's going to try its little heart out, though. It's a real trooper. But yeah, there we go. An RM broadcast was not found with the specified IP address and port number. Verify the software is broadcasting and the correct things have been entered. So It's basically what it's telling me. I do have to be hooked up to a decoder box. If this was a live race, we'd have to be hooked up to a decoder box that has to be picking up on that signal. It also has to be matching. So if you see this where it doesn't match the IP address and port number, there's a few things to check. So make sure you're checking this IP address right here. Make sure it matches, so it has to match exactly. Make sure this TCP IP port 50,000 is right here. The last thing, if you're using Westhold and you don't see that and it doesn't connect, make sure this enable network button is selected. If it's not, you'll get the same error message. That enable network, it won't find it. That's what sets it to go. So you have that enable network, it'll connect, it'll be good to go. We also have the MRP Live connection code. When I hit launch from web, that copied over. If I didn't do it, it's gonna say it's not valid. It's not a good code. So make sure you copy the code exactly. That's gonna be different for each race, but it's important. The last thing here, the last kind of pitfall that would happen to me if I went forward, it would connect, it would send lineups, but it would send them to the wrong place because I have the assignments path in the wrong spot. So for me, we have that in the C drive right here inside of Race Manager. We have this assign folder. That's going to be what leads directly to here, this folder right here. We're going to connect. The race is connected. Everything's good. Now we're going to enter in some drivers and get everything going here. So inside the entries, I'm going to speed entry, just enter in a few different drivers just quickly, going over how to do that. We've gone over this the past two webinars, on the one on Tuesday and the one on Saturday, went over managing these drivers, entering them in. So I'm just going to move past that, but if you have any specific questions about those, remember Alt and H, our old friend Alt and H, it will bring up the chat window and ask away. That's what I'm here for, is to answer your questions. We're gonna put in the transponder numbers here. We're gonna make sure we're putting in the long numbers when I put in these transponders. And I'm going to intentionally mix one up. So I'm gonna not add one. And I believe I'm gonna, after I send my lineups, I'm gonna do one other thing here. But you're gonna make sure you're doing all of the long numbers. For me, these are the long transponder numbers. We're gonna go into our races. We're gonna add our races. I'm just gonna keep it straightforward and add these in here. Again, if you have any questions about this specific spot of it, you can ask, and I'll go over it again on Alt and H, or you can refer to the past webinars. Those are available on our YouTube channel. And again, it's Tuesday and Saturday, so the 7th and the 10th went over those specific things. Let's go into the lineups now. Again, we're just going to get right into the MRP Live part of it, and we're going to send our lineups. So it's going to say the lineups are sent. We can go in here to the assign folder. If the lineups don't send, or you don't see them and everything's connected, make sure you check that assignments path. If we would have, again, not had them in the right spot, we're also going to see that we're missing something. So we don't have a transponder number in here, so that's going to cause some problems when we get to the timing. So since we have that, I'm also going to make a mismatch. So Mark Moose is just not being picked up. We also have the missing data right here, because I've missed some things. I'm going to finish it. And we're going to stop that race. So before I do that, I'm going to So remember to keep these transponder numbers the same. So I'm kind of intentionally making a incomplete one, so it's not going to pick up right. It's going to be a mismatch, and I'm going to show what that mismatch looks like. So you can see that latest pending race right there. If you don't see the latest pending race, you can actually go here to the uploads, and you'll actually see all the ones that are waiting to be done and all the ones that are completed here. So these ones sent, if they didn't send for whatever reason, they would be in this pending, and you could click it and send it again. So if you don't see the file that you're looking for, be sure to check there. Let's go to that latest pending race, and we're going to have a few mistakes there. So we're missing a couple people. So it picked up 11 because we had a driver that didn't have that transponder hooked up, and we sent a name. So it thought who's just in the back because he didn't have a number. In this case, we actually had one that was just kind of a ghost ship. It always takes 10, but you see it highlights in red, so we're just going to click on that red, click on the driver, and it's going to match him up. Same here. So we have check ground, so click on the red, click on the driver, and it'll work as planned. So that, remember, if you see that highlighted there, click on the red, click on the driver. It's the kind of the mantra there for resolving those issues. Then it'll kind of work its magic there. If you do see those, that means you do have a mismatch. You can correct it, which I'm going to do here. I believe I'm missing 1010. Gosh, the last one. So if we do that and run another race, we can see how this would look kind of the correct way. Okay, so how did I know what the transponder number that was missing from the driver list? In my case, it was easy because I just I counted. All mine are 1001 through 1010, so I just counted. I also just could see which one wasn't being picked up, so that's how I entered it in there. Is there an easy way to connect if you have two unmatched transponder and driver? So you just, like I said, if it mismatches here, it's going to, based on what it says, it'll only link them up there on the results if it has the correct thing. So if you see them in red, you just click the red and the driver, and then I'll match them up for you. And I mean, I could do an extreme example and not have any of the numbers in, and it'll all be red, but I could still add them in here. So I've added in, I've stopped it. The results are still waiting to be sent over. If you see it like this and you're still on the results page and you hit that, you can refresh it. And if you refresh it, it'll pop that in there for you. And again, this would be what it would look like if it was a complete good kind of race. So let's use a different class now, or yeah, I'll use a different class and we will do MyLaps next. So I'm going to be using Orbits 5.4. Make sure, I believe we work with Orbits 4 and up. So that's something to keep in mind there. The version number is going to be up top. I believe 5.4 is the most recent one. Here we are. So again, the same rules are going to apply for Orbits. The big thing is we're going to go to the scoreboard and scoreboard settings right here. In order to make sure the enable scoreboard feed is connected, that scoreboard feed is what it's looking for there, and if we don't have it, it won't connect quite right. In my case, this is a demo one, so it's not looking for it directly, but if it's a real one, you're gonna make sure that it's enabled. Same things though apply. You're gonna copy the IP address from Orbitz. You're gonna use what's in Orbitz now. Copy that and put that in here. We're gonna make sure we're using Orbitz, otherwise it won't send the right file type. We're gonna have that TCP IP number. Again, most of the time it's 50,000. It's gonna be what's in this box, whatever that is. You can edit the box. You don't need to do that. You're just gonna take whatever is in the box and put that right here. Also, if you have the wrong one in there, so if we just put a whole bunch of 5s, or have that not the correct one, it'll pop up that message. So it's not found with the right one. So we're able to take this and we're just going to copy that IP address exactly as it is there. We're also going to use the assignments path. This can be anywhere on your computer that you can find that's good for you to find that document. So for me, I'm just going to make a new one inside of here. So we have our folder. That's 312. So if you ever end up sending your lineups and you don't see them in the spot that you're looking for, just make sure to double check those assignments path there. Because if you have them going to the wrong assignments path, it'll send it exactly where it is. And something I see for Orbitz folks is they'll make like a different one, but they won't set it for the right day, or they'll add them to that wrong day, and it'll send where they're not expecting. So just make sure you have that where you're expecting to look for it there. We're going to connect. So we are connected. It's good to go. And now we can go again into our, I'm going to add a class actually. So we'll do 360 sprints. And again, I'm just going to add in kind of my incorrect. And in this one, I'm not even going to add in the right. I'll add in some, but I'll actually add in most, it's just not there. Copied everything over. Calculate our lineups. We're going to send it, and it's going to import the groups, and we're going to import groups and runs. So that's another big one. Is that on this registration page when you're importing, make sure you're using the right one, and also to import the runs, not the groups. So you want the runs are the ones you want to import. So I have a whole bunch here that don't have transponder numbers, so we're gonna be able to see that when I open up my track simulator and go into MRP Live. It'll pick up the names, but it won't know who's exactly who. So it's gonna yell at me because I didn't put in transponder numbers. So there's a few ways to tell if they're not there, but so once they go across, it's gonna pick up the 2. So if it's just picking up 2 here, because that's what I told it. They don't know the competitor, so it's just, we'd have to edit that. So we're gonna make sure that we have the right one in. It's still picking up their information, it just doesn't know who's who. And this is an extreme example. We're gonna see a lot of things not going exactly how we would have wanted it. So we're gonna stop it. And when we import the results, it's only gonna pull up the 2. but the other ones it does know there for those. So put in all your transponder numbers. The demo makes it a little bit more, especially with orbits, it's only going to display what it knows. So if you see that, make sure you're putting in the right stuff, putting them in the right places, especially if you're seeing people mismatch. If you see those mismatched numbers, that's going to be the red in the driver again. So you can make sure you're doing it. I'm filling in the numbers here, just how, not exactly willy-nilly, but putting in the numbers there. Make sure that you have that right number in there, because it'll make your life a lot easier. So when I do a new lineup, we'll calculate our lineups, do A's and B's. I'm going to delete because I have an old feature lineup here. You don't have to do this. I'm just removing this. So let's say I've moved my lineup. So I've imported everybody in, but at the last minute, folks say, oh, this guy actually moved all the way to the back. So save it. All we need to do in that case is just send lineups again and re-import that new lineup there. So on registration, we import our groups and runs, we import those runs, and it'll take the updated information. So again, remember, if something changes on here, you can save it, and then you just import. You can send the lineups again. That'll work for Westhold as well. Import the new groups and runs, and it'll always take the most updated information there. Got my track simulator. So this would be more what we're looking for. The car's going around the track, less things yelling at me and things like that. Again, we can see this here too on MRP Live. I like to have MRP Live. Yes, it does override the previous groups and runs when you send a new one. So it'll send the updated file. It doesn't make multiples. It just sends a new and overrides it. We can also, this would be what a fan would see as well, or driver. So you could actually organize this by positions gained. If we wanted to follow specific drivers, we could. If we wanted to pin a driver, so we can do this pinning. So it'll actually show, this would be something for like qualifying. It'll show those here. So if we're doing something like a qualifying, we could have this pin view and it'll pin it. And then as people are going around the track, it'll actually pick up on that and show the up-to-date person. It's just a cool little feature there. Looks like my cars are going to the finish. All right, got him. So we're gonna stop that timing. Here, go to results, import the results, and they're good to go. We also can move them around. So if we moved them inside of orbits, and as long as hitting stop is kind of the cue to send those results. So some people ask me if they have to change the results in orbits or if they have to change them in MyRacePass. You can change them in either. Just make sure that if you change them in orbits, you do that, you make all the changes and then you hit the stop button. That stop button right here, this stop button is the signal that MRP receives that says I'm done with that race. it is ready to move over. So you can make the changes and hit stop. As soon as you do that, move everything where it should be, and send them back. If you send them and then need to make changes, you do it here on this screen, which is easy to do. We can move drivers around. It actually turns out he didn't start, so things like that, and edit it, and then you're good to go from there. If you have any questions about anything there, Alt and H is the place to do that. Alt and H, the place to ask any questions that you may have about anything in the system really today. This is your time. We got common questions. Along with that, we did have a request for doing rainouts, managing those, what that would look like. So let's get to it. I have my season management right here. And when I go to events, I'm going to go to total events. Let's go to an event here. Now let's say Monday Madness gets canceled. So we'll be able to go here, click on this blue button next to the event, go to event status, and we can put in the status of the event. So we can put if it's a rain out, if it's postponed, it's been canceled, dropped, whatever we want that status to be here. So let's say it was rained out. For the message, we can put in any message that we want. We can add in additional information. This is going to go out to every person that has listed you as a favorite inside the MyRacePass app. So if they have favorited your track or series, they will receive that notification that that's happened with a few criteria. So they'll receive it if it's within 7 days of the event. If it's an event that's going to be happening in the future, we're not going to notify people about an event that rained out in the past or has already rained out. Doesn't make any sense. And again, it does only notify people who have favorited your track. So really let fans and everyone know it's free for them to do inside the app to favorite a track. That can search for you, and then there's a button there where they are able to click you as a favorite. Then they'll be able to receive that updated information. So it's a real good thing for them to do. And then right here, we're going to have the Monday notification to confirm. And then after 10 minutes, just to give us a little bit of leeway, just in case something happens here, within 10 minutes, everyone that has favorited the track will receive that message. We'll actually be able to see and manage all of that inside of this new communication section. If you have a platinum plan or above, you actually get access to this. So you can actually see that I sent out notifications when my track went live in MRP Live. So it does that on the first green flag for a heat, sends out a notification that we went live. It'll send out a notification when an article is created. So I created a news article, and we can see how many people have it's sent to. So it's sent to 3. One person opened it, bless their heart. And see all of those here. We have a rainout that was issued, so you can see my last rainout that occurred at the track. A lot of different things there that we're able to see and manage. We also can see all of the notifications from before a certain point in time. We have this handy chart here that'll show that of how many people opened, my percentage of opens, things like that. So it's a cool feature. It's something you guys will have access to if you do have that platinum plan or above. Push notifications is something we're really excited about for 2020. It's going to be a real big tool for you to promote the things that you guys are doing. Because when we write news articles, like I said, those go out. When you go live through MRP Live, those go out. And you're also able to notify fans, drivers, whomever, of schedule changes like rainouts, things like that, and that all comes as part of your plan. So you can send those notifications as part of your plan right now. But that would be how to do that, to do the rainouts. If we wanted to completely remove Monday Madness, so let's just say Monday Madness, actually it was not, it's just an event that did not need to be there anymore. I've clicked on the event, so I can do that a couple places. There was a quick link because it was an event that's coming up. I could go in that way or go to all events here. I found the event and clicked on it. And inside of here, we can manage our different classes, things like that, but we also can manage it on the schedule. And then you can remove it from the schedule right here. And when I remove it, it'll be gone. That event will no longer show up on the schedule. So that's if you need it completely removed. If you just don't want any record of it ever existing, you can do that there. But yeah, that's a good point too. Make sure your phone some phones have different settings as to which push notifications they allow. Different phones, different manufacturers have different settings. So, you know, an iPhone might be different than a Droid or a Samsung Galaxy. There's a lot of devices for that, so I can't go over all of the ones in detail. Because a lot of different phones, but it's pretty easy to find. And most people have their settings to receive those notifications on kind of by default there. So yeah, make sure that you let your drivers and your fans know to favorite the track. And those are just the beginning for now of things that we have for the push notifications. That is something that is very likely to be expanded. If you postponed, yep, you would set up a new date for the race date. So you would just make a new one in there. I had a question about the drawing. That's going to be, I believe, tomorrow. We will let you know. Tomorrow or Monday, I believe, is when we were planning on doing that. I'll be honest, I have not really, for the drawing for the free MRP Live for 2021, have not really been involved in the talks on that one. They just have me take down attendance, and then we go from there. We actually have one more webinar here that's going to be tonight in 45 minutes. We're going to be going over a lot of different things there, going over a lot of the same ground that we did here too, and common questions, which people can always ask any different kind of question that they want. That is a good part about common questions. If you have one, a common question, Alt and H the spot to do it. About MRP Live, about schedules, race management. If you have a specific question, I will answer it for you. We have the time here to do it, and I am happy to do so. So just let me know. Alt and H is the place to do it. Keeping the place open for as long as you guys have questions. So another thing that folks have been asking me is that registrations right here. So I've created a track registration. This is going to be the registration for the year. Drivers, fans, or well, drivers specifically for this one, will be able to go into online registration. You can see my specific link right here. My specific link opens up. If I've claimed my profile as a driver, I can select my competitor and the class I'm going to be doing. Kale's already entered in his information, so he's actually able to copy it over. take a look at all of his information, and then he'll take a look at this. All this looks good. It's confirmed. And he is good to go. He's going to get an email saying that he has completed that registration, and then we'll be able to see there in the pending. I need late models. Yep. His information here. So I got his that he has paid. He's a rookie. He does have a card already, and then we can confirm him. He has a profile, so it'll match that up to the profile he used when he registered. We can put in that number for him, confirm him, and now he'll be in our driver list for the late models. If he doesn't, if we need to add one manually, so if they've already registered at the track and I didn't set up, or whatever the case may be, I can add a registrant in here, find the competitor if they exist. So let's have, so we can find them in here and add it. We can add in the owner information or add in the information for Sammy. We do have to add in his information though. So all of this information we do have to add in. So it is a bit more of a manual process. That's why I do recommend that you have your drivers go to that link and fill that out themselves. It does keep track of their names and everything there. So it keeps track of that. If we need to create a new driver, it'll let you create a new driver in there. If you had a rookie, you can create a new, but you can create that there already. If a driver tries to register online and doesn't have a profile, needs to claim it, they can reach out to us, and as long as they're not already in the system, I'll do a few checks on my end. I can create them. It's pretty easy for me to do that. So there's a lot of ways for me to kind of go about doing some of those things there with that for creating a driver profile and things. So, but keep in mind this is also all free. Drivers free for them to create a profile, to have a profile, to claim their profile, to have that profile in to be used as the barcode scanning. Driver doesn't have to pay anything. They don't need a subscription. The subscription is for MRP Insider, which lets them take a deep dive into points. Really handy for things like USRA and WSOTA points, different sanctions, different series of events. Great for Insider. And then also MRP, the other plan lets both plans let them view the live timing from their phones. So if they're doing the transponders, they want to see their timing. That's really great for them to do. They can see past and current, so they can see what they're doing there at that track, or they can see the past timing there as well. A lot of different options, a lot of things available there for them to do. Again, Alt and H, the spot to go to ask any questions. Like I said, going over common questions. So this is your time to ask away, ask any questions that you would want answered. So if you have a question right now, it is it's very likely that someone else has that same question. So don't be afraid to ask and see that there. So the online registration for you, it's going to be in season management and registrations. And then the driver can register online. We have this link here that's going to go to mine. You're going to have your own special link that goes to that specific registration. You also can hit share right here to share it to your social media pages. So you can share the link to Facebook and Twitter and let the drivers know that they do need to register. So yeah, any other questions that you have? Alt and H the spot to do that. Again, we have the last webinar of the season that's planned thus far to be going on tonight. Here later on tonight, 6:45 tonight, the last webinar. Hope to see you all there. If you need that eighth that eighth webinar attendance, however you need that, be happy to do that for you. Be on that webinar there. Hope to see you there. And again, leaving it open here for the next few minutes. I'm here till 6:45 at least. So, do drivers need to re-register every season, or just just new to the track? They definitely need to register for their licenses for WSOTA and USRA. Whether or not the track wants to do that is on them. I would actually recommend having the drivers do that because drivers are really bad about telling people things that have changed in their life, like they're moving and things like that, and to make sure that you catch any new information. But if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. It is entirely the track's call. But I highly recommend having the drivers do it, especially since it is easier for them to do to make sure nothing gets lost and gets through the cracks there. I had a question about B and C feature lineups, how those would work. So I'm just going to go in there and do that here. So inside of race management, inside of races, I'm going to add in to an existing race. We're going to add in a B feature. Let's add in a C feature. So when we do something like that, or add a B or add a C, the races are going to go in line, and it's going to ask about our transfers. Who's going to move on to what step, where, what are we specifically doing? So in something like this, we could say, well, I want my best guy to go to the A. So it's going to take him out of each race. Then the next, let's say 3 will go to the B, and then you can go all. So right now, with our 10 drivers, we're going to have a C feature with 6 drivers in it. We're going to have a B feature that has 3, at least 3, and our best guy from the heat is going to go automatically to the A. And so when we go down, it's going to continue on. It's going to ask, well, who's moving from the C to the B? And we can say, well, however we want to do that from each race. I'm going to take the best 5. So the best 5 guys from the C go to the B. Now we have 8 people in the B, and then so on and so forth. So when you keep going here, it's going to ask who's moving on to the next race. So for us, we're going to do that. You can build out your whole nights here with different transfers using that. So and go into our lineup. We have C feature lineup, and you can choose what you want to do there for that. So I'm just going to choose my lineup. And from here, it's pretty much the same. You're going to see some drivers here that aren't grayed out. That means they're not in this race. They're probably the guys in the B and in the C. We can go into our results, add in the result. And really, we're just repeating the process. So we have our B features here. And we just add in the next one. So we'd want the B feature heats and Cs. But you're just going to keep adding in that next lineup that you want to use. And keep going. So the B's and C, B's, they're just more of the same. So you're really, the biggest thing is just setting and making sure that your transfers are set and good to go. Is there any other questions I could answer for you? Again, Alt and H for the spot to ask. Happy to keep it open here for the next few minutes. Any questions that you may have? All right. Well, that's all we have for questions. Then I hope to see you again here in about a half hour. We're going to be doing another webinar. And I hope to see you there. If you want to watch this one again, we're going to have this on YouTube, myracepass.com/YouTube. You can also see it inside your video right here. So thanks so much for attending. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Have a good one.